supposed to start at 7 a.m. Unfortunately, voting material delayed. So for most of the polling stations around the town, around Kampala, the only source of information analog TV, the normal, and even then they're really just showing what's happening in other polling stations and all of that. We knew this was coming, so we were prepared for it. Non-existent, and is it going to happen? It's probably going to happen when they announce. Feel very safe. It's just obviously wise not to go out at night, not to go into town, the heart of the city.
Hours before Ugandans headed to the polls, Uganda Communications Commission (UCC) ordered MultiChoice to suspend KTN Kenya from the DSTV platform, citing national security concerns. Ugandan government also blocked KTN Standard newspaper from entering the country. Amid an internet blackout, opposition presidential candidate Bobi Wine said that the elections are being held in the dark with an aim of rigging the elections.
As we hold our general elections in Uganda, the world should be reminded that we are holding elections in the dark. The internet has been switched off across the country. This is done in order to facilitate the intended rigging of the regime. Otherwise, why would the people of Uganda be denied the right to communicate, and why the Ugandan election should be held in the dark?
Security remained tight throughout the day, with police and military personnel deployed around the polling stations, major roads and urban centers. While authorities say the deployment was necessary to maintain peace, some voters and opposition supporters expressed concern that the heavy security presence created an atmosphere of fear. Election observers also reported challenges in accessing polling stations, particularly in what authorities describe as hotspot areas. In several cases, observers say they were unable to freely reach or monitor polling centers, raising concerns about transparency in those locations.
Especially media and some observers as well. Some polling stations, obviously, especially the hotspot, the town and all of that. Yeah, and there, but that's what it is. It's just inaccessible and all of that. But they always find us. So by constitution, the results are supposed to be announced 48 hours after the voting day. So that makes it Saturday afternoon. Well, Uganda elections are almost, to be honest, taking a book. But it's a civic duty, and Ugandans have taken it very seriously. Well, the number of voters way lower than was one, and that's unfortunate.
According to the Constitution, official election results are expected to be announced within 48 hours after closing of voting. Electoral officials say vote tallying has begun at polling stations before results are transmitted to district and national tally centers. Dolly Marigimbuvi for Hope TV.
From Uganda now and back to the country, and on matters education, lack of school fees continues to be a major challenge among parents with grade 10 learners. Reports indicate that approximately 800,000 students have not yet officially reported to senior secondary schools across the country. Our reporter Sami Adika visited Kibra slums and interacted with some parents and students who have not yet reported, and now he files the following report.
4 days after grade 10 students officially reported to their respective senior secondary schools, thousands are still at home, not knowing what to do. My quest to highlight their plight took me to Kibra slums in Nairobi, where I first met Chantel Auma, who scored 54 points to secure a spot at Hill Girls Secondary School in Eldoret.
Jamanage kwenda shule juu wazazi wangu wako na changamoto kidogo.
With only 1 day left for her to report to school, Chantel's mother Jacqueline Adhiambo, who relies on roasted maize business, says her hopes are dwindling with each passing day as her income cannot raise the required 60,000 shillings. Paul Achieng also says her dream of becoming a teacher will remain blurry if she does not receive assistance to join Gathirimu Girls Secondary School in Kiambu by Friday this week.
Nilikuwa na .46. Nilitoa Gathirimu Girls, lakini sasa mama jiwezi. Hata sijui niingia shule siku gani. Ningependa nikipata usaidizi nisome na nikishamaliza shule nisome kwa mwalimu.
In Makina,
Sana kama mnaweza nisaidia tu.
we met yet another family. Hadija sheds tears while sharing her struggle to sustain her family.
Mi kazi yangu ni vibarua, saa zingine iko, saa zingine hakuna, na mimi ndo baba, mimi ndo mama. Sasa hiyo nini yake gharama yake ni mingi sana, hata sizani, na sometimes mpaka ya kukula yenyewe inanishinda. Hata hii shule mpaka imefika mahali sasa nasema hata hapo kukaa nyumbani juu sina.
Hiyo ni class moja. Asia Dafala, whose dream is to become a journalist just like me, says her dream of joining Lavington Girls High School may not come to be as her mother cannot afford the requirements.
Ndio shule kwa sababu iko na dream yangu. Iko na pathway mimi naenda nayo social sciences, na ningependa kwenda nayo social sciences kwa sababu iko na dream yangu. Na nikifanikiwa kwenda shule naweza saidia mzazi wangu na nisaidie mandugu zangu wadogo.
Daya hizi shule pesa yao ndio mingi, fee ndio mingi na siwezi kuafford. Unaona? Na yeye analia tu, anataka nini? Anataka kusoma. Anataka Lavington Girls. Siwezi kuafford.
With only days left for these young learners to realize their desire of joining senior secondary schools, all they have left is hope that help will come their way soonest.
Ilikuwa ni report shule Monday. Nikaambia mama, kaniambia bado ana. Nivumilie kana anaweza pata. Kama kuna mtu anaweza nisaidia naweza enda. Nitashukuru.
Nimejaribu kufisia mbunge, hakuna usaidizi. Nimeenda mpaka kwa MCA. Bado sijafanikiwa.
This is the situation many students with the desire to join grade 10 across the country are currently in. Poverty now threatening their dreams. For Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Sami Adika.
Thank you, Sami, for that comprehensive report. And now, still on that note, the Ministry of Education has raised concern over an uneven turnout of students during the ongoing grade 10 admission exercise. While some secondary schools are already full, others have recorded extremely low numbers of reporting learners. Education Principal Secretary Professor Julius Bitok is now urging parents and students to be satisfied with the admissions received, even as the ministry yet again considers extending the admission deadline beyond tomorrow, that is January 16, 2025.
Students who report early, there are those who delay a little bit, there are those who come in late, but we are telling our schools, let us get ready for our grade 10 students, let us admit, and I'm asking schools and our field officers, let us even utilize the weekends, Saturday, Sunday, to be able to ensure that we take as many of our students as possible. Our expectation is that we shall have 100% transition because we have enough spaces in grade 10 senior school to take all the learners. Remember, we have 1.5 million spaces against 1.1 million learners. So every learner in this country will have a school, will have where they can be able to join. And we are working very hard to ensure that we remove all the bottlenecks, all the challenges. We are listening to the parents, we are listening to the students to ensure that we have a smooth process.
Kiambu Governor Kimani Wamatangi's wars now seem to be far from over after the High Court on January 15th, that is today, froze Wamatangi's bank accounts over graft allegations. The orders were issued by Justice Benjamin Mwikia following the 813 million shillings civil recovery case, which was filed by the EACC. Wamatangi was accused of unlawfully awarding tenders to companies associated with him and his family during the financial years of 2018-2019 and 2021-2022 during his tenure as the chairperson of the Senate Standing Committee on Roads and Transportation. In the ruling, the court said that Wamatangi, together with his wife, children, and 10 other individuals, will not be able to access the funds until further directions from the court, which is set to mention the case on Wednesday, February 4th. All right. And the Democracy for the Citizens Party, DCP, has broken its silence hours after Juja Member of Parliament, that is George Koimburi, joined President William Ruto's camp, insisting that Koimburi has never been its member and has never been involved in party activities. According to DCP, despite having been Gachagwa's close ally, Koimburi had never accompanied him in any public function for the last 6 months. The statement issued by the party's Secretary General, Hezron Obaga, further reveals that in a meeting held by Koimburi and DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua, the Juja Member of Parliament demanded for the removal of his competitor in the last general elections, that is Alois Kinyanjui, from the DCP party, and instead he, George Koimburi, be given a written assurance that he will be given a direct nomination, failure to which he would rejoin President Ruto's camp. The statement issued today further revealed that Koimburi demanded an exemption from attending public functions with Gachagua until February next year to slow down the prosecution of the various cases facing him. Koimburi announced his exit from the party on Wednesday, accusing the party leadership of alleged intimidation and sidelining some members. All right, time for us to take our very fast short commercial break right here on Hope TV's Newswatch. Don't go too far. More of the top stories coming on the other side.
Hello there, my name is Beatrice Nudi, a host on Hope at Dawn with George Gishuru. Thank you so very much for your support and your loyal viewership. How is the signal in your area? We would love to know. Please do scan the QR code that you see on your screen so that we can know how to serve you better.
In addition to provision, there are additional roles.
Yeah.
You know, the father models how to be a man. I will give you an example. There is a time I traveled and my son was very young. And my wife tells me that my son would always go to check after they have done devotion.
Yes.
He would always go to check if the doors have been closed before they go to sleep.
Yes, yes.
What does that tell you? That this young boy was observing how the father behaves.
Yeah.
So as young as he was,
Yeah.
he would always do the man part while the father is away.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you deny a child the opportunity to be modeled, you are actually saying when they grow up, there will be something missing in them that should have been provided by the presence of a father.
Yeah.
Catch past episodes on our YouTube channel at Hope TV Kenya.
Men on Record, every Friday at 7 p.m.
All right, welcome back. And now let's take a look at some Matters Nyota program. President William Ruto is calling upon the youth to avoid being used by politicians to cause violence, urging them to engage in other activities to improve their living standards. Speaking in Machakos County during the disbursement launch of the Nyota program for the Ukambani region, Ruto lauded the program, saying that unlike the opposition, he has a plan for the youth. Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, on the other hand, added that the Nyota program will empower the youth to assist the country move towards the first world dream.
President William Ruto engaged in a charm offensive campaign towards the youth today as he presided over the disbursement of National Youth Opportunities Towards Advancement Nyota program in Machakos County. During the launch, the president warned the youth against being used as tools for violence by the political class.
Do not accept to be used by people who just see young people as people wa kupiga makelele, contractors wa kwenda kutupa mawe, watu wa kwenda kufanya mambo haya mengine. Mtu akitaka mtu ya kutupa mawe, contractor number 1 aweke mtoto yake.
The head of state continued his onslaught against the opposition, this time telling the youth to avoid them since they don't have a plan for them other than seeking for their votes.
Nasikia viongozi wengine wanaongea tu hapo, vijana nyinyi, tunataka mkuje mtusaidie kupiga watu wengine. Vijana nyinyi, tunataka mkuje mtupigie kura. Vijana nyinyi, young people of Kenya are not voting machines. They also want to know how are they going to change their status? How are they going to make progress?
In a bid to make them a critical cog in the journey towards achieving first world status, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki added that the program will equip the youth with the requisite skills to move the country forward.
We are creating jobs and opportunities for the young people of Kenya so that they provide us with a human capital that will help us transform our country through a knowledge-led, entrepreneur-led economic setup for our country.
A total of 147.5 million Kenya shillings was disbursed to the 5,901 youths from Kitui, Machakos, and Makueni. Reporting for Newswatch, my name is Jacob Ochiro.
Very well put, Jacob Ojiro. And now we cross over to Embu, where the Embu High Court has ordered the preservation under tight security of all election materials from the Mbeere North by-election, as it formally commenced hearings into 2 petitions challenging the victory of UDA candidate Leonard Wamuthende, setting the stage for a closely watched legal contest over the constituency's parliamentary seat. At the center of the dispute is Wamuthende's identity, with the petitioners alleging that the winner used mismatched names across nomination papers, voter polls, and election materials. Presiding over the matter, Justice Richard Mwongo directed that ballot boxes, ballot papers and all related election materials be secured at the Embu High Court in a room controlled by 6 parties.
Version of the pre-trial.
Each party will hold a key to the room and no party will have access to the room without all the parties being present to ensure transparency. During a pre-trial conference, the court sought to consolidate the 2 petitions, noting that they raise similar questions of law and fact.
We just settle that issue so that you know what the IBC is. So is it an application you're making? Yes, I just wanted to get a clarification so that there's no clarification. It's not an application you're making because you're asking to give a direction. Yeah, because in fact it has to be a ruling because you are arguing a case.
The petitions won by voters Julieta Karigi Kithumbu and Patrick Gitonga Gishoni, and another by Newton Kariuki Ndwiga, who was the runner-up in the fiercely contested polls, argues that although the MP illegally changed his name from Leonard Morioki Njero to Leo Wamuthende Njero through a deed poll dated September 3rd, 2024, some election materials allegedly bore his former name. The IEBC and the Mbeere North returning officer have also been put under fire for accepting nomination documents with inconsistent identity, an occurrence which the petitioners say is a breach of constitutional and electoral requirements which invalidated Wamuthende's candidature.
Assisted by Lauren Omondi.
The court also had objections to the IEBC being represented by external lawyers, prompting Justice Mwongo to direct that a formal application be filed.
So council is seeking to know the import of these orders in respect to these proceedings, and most importantly, the question of the representation of the first respondent. could they be deemed to be represented in the existence of this conservatory order? And the reason why Council sought for this because, and he avoided to make an application, is because there already exists an order, my lord.
Wamudende won the seat with 15,802 votes against Ndwiga's 15,308, making it one of the closest by-elections in the country. Security was heightened at the Embu High Court as supporters from rival camps gathered, underscoring the high political stakes as the court sets to determine the fate of the Mbeere North parliamentary seat on May 21st, with the official hearing beginning on March 9th, 2026. Theo Macharia for Hope TV Newswatch.
Despite the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, that is EPRA, reducing the fuel prices by 2 shillings for petrol, 1 shilling for diesel and kerosene respectively for the next 30 days, Kenyans now say that this will not bring out any significant difference. We spoke to a number of Kenyans who termed the reduced pump prices as negligible compared to overall increasing prices of basic commodities. Public service vehicle operators now want the authorities to balance the rate of increase and price revisions. Listen in.
Kusema ukweli iko juu kiasi, chapokuwa ni vile ikishuka inashuka na kitu kama 2 bob, lakini ikiongezea inaongezea na kama na 20-25 shillings. So unapata sisi kama wafanyikazi unapata hiyo pesa kuitafuta ni ngumu. Halafu tena upande mwingine kwa upande ya barabara nao tunasumbuliwa sana na maskari. Sometimes uko na documents za kazi, usiwe na documents za kazi, wao wanataka pesa yao ile ya asubuhi. So inabidi watafutie kwanza pesa ile siku ya asubuhi, ndio tunawatafutia kwanza pesa, halafu ndio tunaanza kazi. Halafu then from there unakuta hii masaa nyingine ikifika saa 7 saa 8 unakuta ama kara wengine wanakuja shift ya saa 8 nao wanaanza kusumbua bado. So inabidi hata watafutie. So napata kiwango yetu ya mshahara sio iko constant vile.
Tunasema ni asante kwa hizo shilingi 2 umeanguza, lakini bado hazitakuwa na change. Kwa sababu shilingi 2 na unapandisha shilingi 7 hakuna change. Change ile tunaweza taka ni kama unapandisha shilingi 10 unatuangushia 12. So tunaona change after kufanya hesabu ya per day, ile pesa tunapata tunaona ingalau fedha inapanda juu kidogo au mafundo zetu inapanda juu. So unaongeza mafuta, si tunashindwa kuongeza fare. So pesa zetu ndio zinarudi chini, mshahara wetu ndio inarudi chini. Teremshe kama shilingi 10 ndio tupate change ya upande zote. Kama ni yule ambaye anafanya transport ya kubeba chakula, unga, boga, nini yote inafaa ifikia wananchi, inakuwa hakuna kuumiza, inakuwa iko balance.
And a section of Bungoma residents have vowed to resist any attempt by the national government to construct a smart city and affordable housing project at the Bungoma airstrip, citing lack of proper public participation on the proposed project. Speaking during a flopped public engagement exercise after the conveners of the meeting failed to show up, the residents further claimed that powerful interests within government were keen on grabbing the airstrip land for personal gain under the guise of development. Now, the project has also been turned into a political tool, with Bungoma gubernatorial aspirant Zakaria Baraza arguing that the county's priority should be job creation rather than large-scale urban projects.
Mimi kama mwananchi wa Bungoma, mimi kama mkaaji wa kiwanja ndege, nasema ya kwamba hatukubali serikali tuimbosie projects ambazo hatuelewi, projects ambazo hatujahusishwa kamwe kama wananchi wa kawaida. Mtu anakuja kujenga hapo smart mall, haiwezi msaidia mwananchi wa kawaida. Sisi tunataka viongozi wetu wasituambie hata maneno ya Luya unit, watuambie maneno ya Luya development.
Sisi kama wakaaji
tulikuwa tumekuja leo kupinga tukisema hatutaki wajenge katika ile uwanja ya ndege mambo ya smart city. Lakini kitu imetushangaza leo hii, baada ya wakaji wote kuacha wakati yao kukuja kufika hapa, wale watu wamekutana nao ni polisi, lakini county commissioner ambaye alitakana kusimamia hajaonekana. Gavana wa Bungoma ambaye alitakana kusimamia hajaonekana. Watu wote wa serikali ambao walikuwa wanatakana wasimamie hawajaonekana. Sasa kwa kauli moja, sisi watu ya Bungoma tumesema hatutakubali uwanja wa ndege ubadilishwe kwa mambo ya smart city ambayo inataka ichukuliwe na mabenyenye, na pia hatutakubali uwanja wa ndege ufanyiwe affordable housing.
From Bungoma now to the Rift Valley region, where police department in the Rift Valley region has launched an extensive investigation into drug trafficking in counties bordering neighboring countries of Uganda, South Sudan and Ethiopia. This move follows an increase in activities by drug traffickers who are suspected of crossing borders. So far, more than 8 Burundians have been arrested in connection with crime. Glory Nkatha now reports.
Rift Valley Regional Police Commander Samuel Ndanyi has announced that security officers have intensified patrols and intelligence gathering following indications of increased drug trafficking activities in the region. West Pokot and Turkana counties have been identified as some of the most high-risky areas due to the proximity to Uganda and South Sudan, a situation that makes it easier for criminals to cross the borders undetected.
So that ndio to deal na vitu na hizo vitu ambazo nimetaja, hizo pombe haramu na miadarati, lakini pombe haramu ni iko ndani kwetu, miadarati inaweza kuwa iko ndani kwetu, lakini zingine tunasuspect kwa zinaweza kuwa zinatoka nje. So ndio maana tumekutana hapa leo tuweke mikakati.
Speaking in Kapenguria town, West Pokot County Commander Ndanyi held a meeting with regional security chiefs, emphasizing the importance of cooperation between citizens and security agencies in combating the illegal drug trade. Ndanyi stated that suspects involved in drug trafficking have been arrested from Kenya as well as from Burundi, and that investigations and operations are ongoing to track down traffickers from other neighboring countries who are suspected to be involved.
Vile tunaweza fanya kazi, utendaji kazi wetu pamoja tukiwa katika eneo moja la Rift Valley. We have several people have been arrested and a lot of pombe haramu ambao tumeshika na watu wamepelekwa kotini, and even today as we are talking, because this meeting was planned, even today we have over 10 people, aliens who have been arrested from Burundi. So it is actually, we want to sustain it, and we want to bring so many people, other agencies, so that we can win this fight against illicit brew and the hard drugs.
As investigations continue, police have vowed to take firm actions against anyone found to be involved in the drug traffic trade. Members of the public have been urged to work closely with the government to safeguard the security and future of their communities. Reporting for Newswatch, my name is Glory Nkatha.
Great. Now it's time for us to play, and we begin with some matters. FKF with Gor Mahia Club has returned to the summit of the FKF Premier League on goal difference. That is after their 3-2 win against Murang'a Seal. Gor's goals were scored by Felix Olwoch, Paul Ochuoga and Ebenezer Asifwa, while Joe Waithera and Francis Memusi scored for Murang'a Seal. Elsewhere, defending champions Kenya Police continued their run of poor results after a 1-1 draw with Mara Sugar. The draw leaves them in 5th place with 24 points after 15 matches. The second edition of the Kenya Volleyball Cup has kicked off, bringing together top men and women's teams from across the country as clubs battle for early season silverware. Defending champions GSU will be aiming to retain the men's title, while KCB set their sights on protecting their crown in the women's category. As Caleb Mwoti reports, Kenya Volleyball Federation President Charles Nyamweri has expressed confidence that the tournament will play a key role in nurturing emerging talent across the country.
The four-day tournament organized by the Kenya Volleyball Federation has attracted intense competition as teams look to make an early statement ahead of the league campaign. In the men's category, second division side Beast Volleyball Club made a strong start to the tournament, stunning Prisons Nairobi with a straight set victory of 3-0. Beast Volleyball Club head coach Kennedy Nyongesa praised his players for their composure and brilliant execution against a strong opponent.
Mchezo umekuwa sawa, hata kama vijana wangu wanacheza division ya chini. Mimi nimeshukuru. Najua wako na nguvu mzuri, vijana wadogo nimewakuza kuanzia chini. Hata last season nilikuwa nipande but nikakosa nguvu kidogo. So nawaamini hata training kwa tunafanya nao mzuri. So nikakuja hapa kujaribu Kenya Cup. Lakini sitakuwa surprise sana because wamecheza mzuri. Hiyo tu naweza sema.
Prisons Nairobi head coach expressed disappointment with the results but remains optimistic about improving in the upcoming matches ahead.
Mchezo umekuwa mzuri, the Beast wamekuwa wazuri, wametushinda na luck, today it was not our luck. I think we have learned our mistakes and we have to go back to the drawing board and improve in the next match that will be tomorrow morning at 8.
At the same time, Kenya Volleyball Federation President Charles Nyaberi says that the tournament will serve a vital platform for identifying emerging talent while also strengthening the national team selection pool as Kenya prepares for upcoming international assignments.
Yeah, we are on the second leg of the Kenya Cup Championships, which is a new product. This is a new product that we're trying out for the second time this year. We started it last year.
You see, before we used to have the Kenyan League, which was being played only once in a month. So we saw it is very important that we increase the competition for the players to increase the level. And also we are exposing our players in such a big competition so that they can be ready for the African Club Championship, which is coming in Cairo and in Rwanda, both men and women.
With early surprises already recorded, the Kenya Volleyball Cup promises more thrilling encounters as the race for silverware intensifies. For Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Caleb Mwoti.
And Sadio Mane's goal assured Senegal a place in Sunday's AFCON final. The Senegal win has once again denied Egypt's talisman Mohamed Salah's hopes of winning the trophy for the first time. The Lions of Teranga will face host Morocco, who defeated Nigeria 2-4 on penalty shootouts in other semi-final played on Wednesday night. And Arsenal boosted their Carabao Cup final hopes after a 3-goal win against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Ben White, Victor Gyökeres and Martin Zubimendi scored for the Gunners, while Chelsea got their consolation through goals from former Manchester United winger Alejandro Garnacho. The return match will be staged on February 3rd. Great, and 37 minutes past the top of the hour. That's all the time we had for you tonight, right here on Hope TV's Newswatch. From myself and the entire men and women behind the scenes, together with our sign language interpreter, that is Boniface Mureithi, we wish you a lovely and a restful night. And also remember, there is nothing that is too hard for the Lord. Good night.